Hello everyone, welcome to my Positive Life Answers podcast. I'm your podcast host and expert, Dr. Ann Mercer, and you can call me Dr. Mary. In my Positive Life Answers podcast, my goal is to help you transform the quality of your life and help you create the life you desire. The goal of my podcast is to help you make improvements and changes in practical ways. When you face a problem, solutions don't always come easy. When you can't find solutions to your problems or effective ways to improve or change your life, I can help and guide you. I offer you solution-focused, effective system and tools to create the life you desire. You will learn practical and long-lasting approaches to guide you to live a happier and fulfilling life. In today's podcast, I want to thank you for your support. Please continue to enjoy my podcast and don't keep me a secret. Share with someone who can benefit from my topics. Thank you for your email messages and questions. This is what the space is all about, which is helping you. And techniques for improving your life. Gave you a taste of what those can be like, as well as making goals and resolutions in your life and the likelihood of keeping your resolution and goals and making new habits and changes. Gave you a little sample of heartfelt questions you must reflect on before you make these choices, and how to let inspirational dissatisfaction motivate you. Today we'll dive deeper into these topics and get you started on your path to transforming your life. Let's get started. In my Positive Life Answers podcast, my goal is to offer you solution-focused, effective system and tools to create the life you desire. I will teach you practical and long-lasting approaches to guide you to live a happier and fulfilling life. Recent difficult times we all experience, our personal problems and crises you may have experienced, really forced us to look at our lives, whether we like it or not, to face and deal with the consequences. Fortunately, troubles in life can be unique opportunities to venture into a higher level of growth that goes well beyond the concept of chasing happiness. So instead of chasing happiness like many people do, many people also chase positive attitudes. This podcast, you'll learn how to make amazing and long-lasting improvements and changes that goes well beyond the concepts of happiness and positive attitudes. I will show you strategies and techniques that really help you release agony anchors that hold you back and keep you down. You will learn how to break through difficulties and blocks, plus change your discouraging beliefs, so you can actually create the life you desire and transform your life by growing through your difficult experiences and challenges. Why should you tune into my podcast? I am Dr. Mary Ann Victoria Mercer, and you can call me Dr. Mary. I'm an author, speaker, psychologist, and intensive coaching co-creator. I created this method with my co-author and husband, Dr. Michael Mercer. We have used our method of intensive coaching for many years to transform people's lives. We co-authored many books, including Spontaneous Optimism. Dr. Mercer will join us in several podcast episodes to address topics we co-authored and developed. My new book is called Bouncing Back from Difficult Times. My background also includes the study and practice of healing and mind-body connection techniques such as biofeedback. I'm a certified awakening dynamics practitioner and movement feedback expert. My unique background and experience will give you the tools and the edge you need to improve your life. I will share with you my story and experience in working with others in upcoming podcasts. I will share my story with you, which will show you what I did to overcome challenges and create the life I desired. Here, I've appeared on many TV and radio shows, including Oprah. I've been quoted in many publications such as Self, Medium Fitness, Health, Fitbit, and many more. I deliver speeches and workshops and co-founded the self-improvement website called Positive Life Answers. Now let's focus on today's topic. Most people look at the beginning of the year as a chance to make changes in their lives. However, I estimate at least 50% of those who establish New Year's resolutions or big goals for the New Year's often fail. Reasons are that people are putting so much pressure on themselves to make New Year's resolutions or believe their lives will change at the stroke of midnight. Such extreme pressure sets you up for failing. Many people are still in the fog from the holidays on January 1st, and they don't even think about starting because they're so tired or stressed out from the holidays. And they're just returning from time off or needing to get back into routine. Starting my podcast the second week of January as people are more settled and ready to get some work done. Many people often make grand choices because they expect to make changes, such as losing weight, stopping smoking, or other habits that they don't really think about much about any other time of year. How can you increase the likelihood of making a new habit or change be successful? Whether it's a New Year's resolution or just setting goals, and importantly, setting goals to improve your life, people are more likely to succeed if they take the time to reflect. Remember, my podcast is about making long-lasting changes and shifts in your life, not just fluffy New Year's goals and not just fluffy New Year's resolutions. Right now, I want you to take a moment to be still and reflect on the past year or recent months in your life. If you can't do that now, after you listen to this podcast, take a moment to reflect on what your year's been like, what your life's been like in the last year. This will help you get a baseline or reference point as to what you've been doing with your life. Where are you in your life right now? Just think about that. I want you to reflect on what's happening in your life and what's been going on in your life. This is the key to starting to initiate changes. Let me begin to share with you some life-changing questions. You decide on goals or changes you want to make before these crucial questions, you most likely will miss your target. Asking some of my heartfelt questions are the key to getting started. You must reflect on your life and what you're doing now before you start making your choices about where you want to go. So I guess number one, think about and write down, if you can, what have you done this last year? Think about the different areas of your life, such as work, relationships, yourself. Think about, write down what you've done with work, your career, your relationships, and your self-care. What have you been doing this last year? Ask yourself, for number two, what's missing in my life? What have I not done yet? 3, ask yourself, what would I like to have in my life right now? Picture or imagine what you would like to have in your life. 4, picture or imagine what you want most in your life, or what you want to improve on and change. And take a deep breath for this next question. Ask yourself, how would you feel if in 3 to 5 years you did not create this change or improvement in your life? So what's important to you and what really matters? How would you feel if you didn't manifest that and bring that into your life in the next 3 to 5 years? Don't be upset if you have negative thoughts and reactions. Let this inspirational dissatisfaction of negative thoughts and reactions motivate you. This will help you break free of your excuses. We will have a follow-up exercise during the next podcast that you can do with me, and you will hear about my life story. The likelihood of making goals and developing new habits are based on the questions that must be asked before goal setting. So take some time to reflect on these heartfelt questions. If you do not take the time to ask yourself these questions, you're just shooting arrows in the dark. Remember, ask yourself these questions and observe your thoughts and reactions. As we gather around and meet in my podcast, you will learn how to break through difficulties and blocks, plus change your discouraging belief, so that you can actually create the life you desire and transform your life by growing through your unhappiness and difficult times. I recommend you get a notebook to write down your thoughts and reactions. The act of physically writing your responses down is very effective. And you can listen and think about these heartfelt questions I pose in my podcast, which is great. Even if your mind or unconscious is receptive to 1 or 2 of these questions right now, that's great. If 1 or 2 of these questions land in your brain and your mind, that is fantastic, because it will get the wheels turning. You just want to take a little further and you are a more serious person about changing your life, get a notebook and write some things down. When you make the commitment to get a notebook and write those thoughts and feelings down, you'll make wonderful improvements in your life and be a role model for others. Before we wrap up today, please go to PositiveLifeAnswers.com and sign up for your free Positive Life Answers newsletter. When you sign up and receive my newsletter, which will be a supportive guide to these podcasts, you'll get a free guide and report called Quick Tips to become more upbeat and optimistic. While you're at my website, feel free to email me your questions and comments using the Contact Us form. I will respond to your questions and comments during my podcast. Don't forget to sign up for my weekly podcast. Please enjoy these podcasts and don't keep me a secret. Share with somebody who can benefit from my topics. Let's create that positive domino effect around you and people around us. So please hit that follow button and download your podcast. A note to my listeners, this podcast is to provide useful information to my listeners. It's published with the understanding that your host, Dr. Mercer, is not engaged in rendering professional services, counseling, or therapy through the contents of this podcast. If professional services is sought by the listeners, such as counseling, therapy, or medical advice and other help, then the listener is totally responsible for seeking services from a competent professional. Contact your local psychological association or contact your doctor for referrals. Thank you for listening to my podcast. Don't forget to reflect on the questions I posed today. Stay tuned for more. Positively, Dr. Mary.